Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what it'll say. Nice and kind, bleeding cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what it'll say. Nice and kind, bleeding cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game.
Ah, the penguin! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Back to stream starts soon.
Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what it'll say. Nice and kind, bleeding cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7.
Okay, we're back. I'm here. I'm back. I'm back. Compose this. Sounds pretty good. That's in the description. No worries. Begging for not that many fog replays. Hi, hi. I would highly recommend using the services of my composer. It was very good. Oh no, you predicted the first Jess we see today will lose. Well, we don't have a Jess in this game. Just your run-of-the-mill this tier 1/2 standard tag game. You're not gonna get a Jess game. Oh no. Okay, so we have in the top right here, we've got Warplayer playing as Olaf and Hawke. And in the bottom left, we have CSR playing as Eagle and Hawke. So a Hawke mirror, but extra global damage for Warplayer. And, Eagle will take a second turn for CSR, which is pretty interesting. So these are all COs that would love to just kind of pop their supers and call it a day. Yeah, Sunday stream because I had to cancel the Friday one. Go7 played a game on my map rotation? Is this my map rotation currently? Sunday. So I would imagine for both of these players, they're just going to switch to Hawke because he's got an actual day-to-day that's pretty functional. I mean, Eagle does too. So I guess CSR could stay Eagle if they're gonna go like really heavy into the copters or something. But I would imagine both players are just gonna swap out straight into Hawke. And then for a standard game, it's gonna take forever to get enough charge that this might just be basically a Hawke mirror. But we'll see. Oh, this must be an old game. Okay, so we're not going to get to see action by action replay. We only get to see turn by turn. I don't know how old. Let's quickly check actually. How old is this game? It's not that old. It happened in September, but I guess they were just playing on the old interface or something. Okay. To the left. All right. No action by action, just turn by turn here. Heading off towards the neutral base right away, which makes sense, and also for the airport right away. Ooh, okay. CSR. Looks like CSR is going to have an infantry walking down here rather than sending 2 down this way. So we have a difference in the opening currently, which I kind of favor CSR's opening because it gets both of these properties, and then this one kind of leads nicely to try and go for this. Either capture this property or to deny one of these properties. Where Warplayers looks like it's more accelerated to go for the comm tower early, which I'm not super happy with. It could just be for more central properties. Like getting to these harbors could be nice. But no, it looks like we are going to go for the comm tower really quickly. We have some tanks moving out. I would probably... I guess it's fine to move the tank down here. I would prefer to make sure that tanks can get in range to these cities to deny them, which I guess is going to be really easy because there's actually a base right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this city's almost in range of this base to just cover this city on build, but not quite. So this would have been an interesting city for Warplayer to rush, or on this side for CSR to rush. This infantry could have gone for this city in just one extra turn. It would be finishing before something could disrupt it, and then you just lock that down pretty easily. It's even in copter range on build, because that's going to be a very contested city. So that would have been something that would have been pretty interesting to rush. I know, turn by turn replay. Can those harbors be used for anything besides battleship turrets? You could use them for probably black boats. You could also use them for landers if you really wanted to, but I would imagine black boats for walling purposes. Or you can use them to just build battleships in the center of the map. In range of a recon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Almost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's one tile out. Very close though. An idea for an Advanced Wars by Web content series based around the move planner. I'd look at some random turn of a game I haven't seen and then move plan out their turn and see how close my plan was. I could do that. Usually that's... I mean, I guess I could do something like that. But I don't know how I'd get these random turns. To know what a lander would do when there's beaches everywhere. Oh, what you would do with a lander is you would probably sit right here, build a mega tank. 1, 2, 3, 4 into the lander. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Drop it off over here, or you could go this way. 1, 2, 3. Well, if you're going this way, you pick up a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop mega tank up here. You'd probably just do it with actual tanks rather than a mega tank. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could sit here, pick up a tank from here, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Drop off. So it's just a way to move your vehicles faster. For mega tanks and medium tanks, it's a lot faster. Ideally, you'd have shoals going like this. If you had if it would work pretty nicely for you if there was a fight. For instance, if CSR was attacking down here and you have a lander and it picks up 2 medium tanks and then drops them off in range, so the medium tanks show up a whole turn earlier. Even if you just do that, if you could, well, I mean, there's not that much funds on this map for that, but if there were, dropping off 2 medium tanks a turn earlier definitely pays for a lander, and it's something you would be able to do again and again. This is an unusual map, 2 ports in the center when opposing battleships attack. Yes. They are in range of each other. You could have battleship versus battleship. But yeah, okay. The CSR is now controlling this hotly contested property, as well as got some infantry coming over. Got this got these properties getting captured. We have the battlecopter built, which is actually 1 turn out of range of stopping this capture. So we're also saying here. So it looks like these 2 cities are going to be pretty easy to take, no problem. And it's just going to be these ones that are hotly contested and these central harbors, which Warplayer currently has a very nice lead on. I'm not going to have time to try the penguin on stream. Sorry. I don't have any of that stuff down. I feel like battleship / carrier should be banned here. I think carrier would probably be fine, but battleship might be banned. It does have a lot of central presence. Oh. Warplayer does go for an interrupt on this comm tower, which is fine. If you want to be super cute. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, yeah. I think Warplayer probably should have attacked here with the tank. You disrupt the comm tower, so you have a comm tower advantage. You have copter and tank backup, so you can just kind of kick CSR out of here. And you can bring some infantry down to try and take this city. But this is also fine. It just means that disrupting the comm tower has not too much of an impact. It's not a live game. No. I'm covering it live, but it doesn't have a action by action. It's only got turn by turn. Recorded. So it looks like we had a join cap, which is kind of a win for Warplayer because that's 1 less infantry over here now. It's kind of like the tank killing infantry, kind of. And I don't think it was actually needed. I think instead you just put a fresh infantry on here and then keep your 4 health one alive, either like bring it to a city to repair or just use it as a blocker. Be no problems there. We have the copter covering here. Warplayer really should have built an anti-air in response to this copter because it kind of shut everything down over here. But nicely, CSR has built an anti-air in response to this copter and also got those tanks out of there. They were definitely not safe. Warplayer jumping on these central harbors, which I definitely agree with, and the tank just ran away from the comm tower. We have it standing on shoal, which I don't like. But I guess it's okay. Not really. Yeah, I don't like it's on shoal because I feel like CSR just runs over onto this lab, hits this tank, has some infantry attacks, and it has the backup of the copter and another tank to deal with just a single tank of Warplayer in the region. It's kind of just a free lab to shoal hit. CSR. Oh, CSR does go for it. And I would only change this to interrupting the harbor rather than striking this tank. I don't think that really matters well. If you're able to actually deny this harbor, that's going to hit both their income and also their ability to build an offensive battleship in the center. Head up, Jay. Okay, we got anti-air. Off the copter, looking good. Copter goes for the smack, and again, these are going to be the really hotly contested properties. But it looks like Warplayer is actually kind of set up to take this because, yeah, CSR did not place anything in range to interrupt this on the next turn. I think just having a single infantry do it would be good enough, but very nice for Warplayer is going to get this property, and it's also going for this one and gets to complete this harbor. So we're like very nice incomplete so far. In the center, we just went for a retaliation smack with this tank. What happened to the 2 health tank? Okay, it looks like the 2 health tank just sacrificed into this one, and then this other tank smacked it, which is pretty nice win tank health wise for CSR. So this 7 health of this on this tank has traded for currently 12 health from Warplayer. That's some very nice value. But of course, income-wise, Warplayer is looking much better. And then this anti-air. Ooh, I don't know about this anti-air placement. I guess, yeah. Since this copter can cover against this copter, I like this anti-air just like one tile up, because right now it doesn't actually cover this city. So this copter can just smack this for free. Ooh, okay, so CSR does jump in here, brings this tank back for healing, which I like. We are playing as Hawke after all. Where'd this copter go? Oh, the copter came down here to hit this tank. Oop, to smack this tank. I don't think that's needed though, because this tank can already get this nice attack. This copter should instead just deny this property, which looks like the property just goes unpunished completely. Number one thing for CSR to work on here is actually interrupting properties so your opponent doesn't get a nice income lead, because that's at the end of CSR's turn. Warplayer's up 1k in income. Pretty significantly down in unit value. But, I mean, the fighting is still ongoing. But as Warplayer, it does kind of look like you just smack some infantry, take your city captures, and fall back for now. To be fair, most advanced wars by web work consists of people complaining to JJ. Okay. Let's see, we get the city, we decide to continue attacking in the middle. Get the city. I like attacking the infantry over here since it's so close to this base, and this base can pretty much cover it as well as at the same time against this city. I'm not a huge fan of attacking in the middle, although the copter on copter strike's really good. And also, oh, okay, never mind. I didn't realize this anti-air is actually vulnerable to getting taken out. So what Warplayer goes for is smack the copter, and then hit it with infantry, it looks like. I would have interrupted the harbor. And then use the tanks to kill the anti-air so that Warplayer has air dominance, and then builds another copter. That's going to be pretty effective in this situation, because now there's nothing to deal with this copter or this copter at present. But there's still, you know, quite a few more infantry in the center for CSR. So probably the right choice of action is to just kind of attack these tanks with your own tanks and have your infantry attack the opponent's infantry and ignore the copters for now. Just suck up the hits. At the top, though, things are looking much better for Warplayer. I mean, the middle is looking kind of okay, but the top is looking really nice with all these units just kind of standing in the way. The copter could come in here and hit a tank, but the anti-air can just get it with a big old smack. We do have a slight weakness here, in that this infantry can come up and clear the way for this tank to get a hit on this anti-air, and then this copter won't die in retaliation. I guess, yeah, it looks like CSR's got some plans, but pretty much no matter what happens up here, things are looking pretty nice for Warplayer, because there's only the 2 health infantry in range currently to get any property captures. Ooh, wow, okay, so CSR did not engage this fight at all. We did indeed essentially ignore the copter and just go for a bunch of attacks down here, which I do like. The only thing I would change is attacking up here, smacking the anti-air with a tank after having the infantry break through, and then have a copter hit this tank, and then you just build another copter to keep up that pressure. Kind of what Warplayer is doing over here. I don't know why this copter is still over here. Okay, Warplayer just goes for a small pickoff over here, sacrifice the tank in. You don't need to do that here. So usually you sacrifice a tank in if it has no way of escaping, just to try and get some value out of it. But here you can. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you might be like, it's not really escaping because these guys can reach. That's out of the range of the infantry covering up the tanks after they strike, so you can have your reinforcements get punished. You can actually cover your weakened tank and get a bigger investment, or like a bigger swing out of it. It's a lot hard to tell who's winning when it's turn by turn. This is how it used to be in the old days. Everything was turn by turn. And by the old days, I mean before I played. Okay. Yeah, Warplayer backs off, like so. Just has this copter finish off this 1 health copter. I feel like this has got to have a better option, right? Yeah, you can come over here and hit this tank if you want. It's a little bit risky because there's so many infantry to surround it. That must be why. Just stuck around over here. Because now the infantry surround can hit every spot but this one, so the copter can always get away. And then CSR backs off, so Warplayer just gets away with this 2 property lead due to getting these hotly contested properties. And then attacks these little infantry, brings these tanks forward. Not great coverage for them, but there's not anything currently threatening them, so they can just stand here. And over here, I'm not quite sure what CSR's tanks are doing. Looks like they're just kind of sitting in the middle rather than committing to fighting any single front. So it's going to come down to whichever front they decide to switch to. That's going to make an impact. It kind of looks like it's tough to attack Warplayer's formation up here, so CSR might be better off just trying to trade. It would be beneficial. So basically, if CSR can take this army, attack over here where Warplayer is really weak, and just kind of sacrifice these properties, it will end up being beneficial if, assuming that these properties get captured in exchange, because Warplayer actually owns more properties on both fronts than CSR. So if there's a like a sacrifice of an entire front for a front, then CSR is going to end up even instead of behind, if that makes sense. Looks like CSR wants to just fight this army head on. So he just goes for the copter kill, starts running away from this front. Yeah, I would prefer just a trade of fronts, essentially. Instead, we're going to go into this attack. It's very dangerous because the copters are just kind of on the outskirts, and the death ball, the vehicles with a coating of infantry has withstood the attack. So there's very few vehicle first attacks. And Warplayer is actually getting kind of close to the charge. I don't think we're going to need to see the Hawke super be used here. We'll probably just see copter plus infantry kill this copter after probably like tank infantry kills this infantry on the harbor, and then this anti-air can kill this other copter. Maybe that makes it too difficult to hit these other tanks. We might have the anti-air strike from up here. We'll see how it goes. But you definitely attack in here as CSR, because this is your stronger side in comparison to down here. Probably just hold the ground over here and just go for the swings at the top. And indeed we do. Interestingly, we didn't end up killing this copter, which I guess is okay. There's probably just not great rolls to break through there. It's definitely hard to tell when it's just turn by turn. But yeah, in we go. And this is looking pretty nice, because as long as Warplayer doesn't lose stuff over here, it's just pure benefit for winning at the top here. And Comm Tower is looking mighty vulnerable. CSR does have the Hawke super, and Warplayer will have the Hawke super in response. And usually you don't want to use your Hawke super first, because what happens is you hit all of their units for 2 and then heal up all of your units, but most of your units are at full. And then on their turn, they heal up all of their units for 2, so they're back at full, and they hit all of yours for 2, and you no longer have a way of healing them. So you, the person who uses the Hawke super first is the one that's left with all the damaged units. Now that we mentioned Super Saiyans, Go7's head is pretty yellow and spiky. It's true. It's true. Does Eagle have to start the turn in order to get the full effect of the super? Yes. There's no dual strike in this. You can only tag out and use powers. So in tag in Advanced Wars by Web is the CO in front. You have their day-to-day active. You can use their charge on their powers, and at end of turn, you can decide to tag out and in which case you would switch to the other CO, and at the start of that next turn, you'd be able to use their powers. The CO in front gets the normal amount of charge from all the conflicts, and the CO in the back gets 50% of the charge. And also, when you tag out, if you have an active power, that power ends. So you can always make sure that you're generating charge at the end of your turns. Feel like it'd be better to pop Olaf super first here. I agree. Something that's nice about Olaf super is that you make it snow and it keeps snowing when you swap out. The Eagle Hawk combo would be awful with the minus 30% firepower. Fair, that's fair. But yeah, if you're used to the dual strike mechanics in the cartridge game, you don't get extra turns from like having full charge. Yeah, Olaf. Well, in my opinion, if you're Olaf and you're fighting Hawke, you just don't use your super. You just use your normal power like 3 turns in a row, and just have it constantly snow. Because you do get kind of blown out by your super getting healed off. Okay, so CSR, oh my gosh, look at that. CSR just annihilates all of the vehicles that Warplayer had here. Popped, this is how it works, right? So CSR pops the Hawke super, it does all the damage, and then tags out at the end of the turn. So now Eagle's in front, the power has ended, and so you get to continually get charge. At the bottom here, things are looking pretty decent for Warplayer. This anti-air is actually this anti-air is covering these tanks, but the infantry aren't quite so lucky. I guess this one is, so only this one is interesting. But we're gonna have Warplayer's counter super turn here. Looks like it's a very nice super CSR for cleaning up so much stuff in the center. And at the end, well, we can look at. So Warplayer had 116,000 unit value at the end of his turn, and at the end of CSR's turn, it was down to 59,000. So pretty much halved, which is pretty impressive. We'll see what Warplayer gets in response here with the super. So actually, Warplayer super pretty much just equalized the unit value, so not nearly as effective as CSR's. And it resulted in this fight resulted in a copter just kind of sitting in anti-air range, which is a little bit gutsy for sure. Oof, oof. And look at that. It had to do quite a bit of damage to Eagle. So now it's quite possible. Maybe, well, I would imagine it would be possible here to get the Eagle super. Oh, CSR didn't manage to get it. Yeah, we just went for the easy attacks down here. And keep capturing this harbor, which seems good to me. It's pretty much decent cleanup turn, but not getting the Eagle super, I think, is a little bit sketchy. You would much prefer the Eagle super here. You kill this tank, kill this other. I think it'd just be GG if Eagle got the super here. And the way you would get the super is you just go for really disadvantageous attacks. So you'd have like this anti-air would attack this tank on the shoal to get a bunch of charge. You can still have this anti-air hit this copter. You can have this tank hit this copter. You're just trying to get to your super so that like your anti-airs can get double kills, and you can just wipe out all of these tanks with like, all of your other vehicles. Using 2 sock puppets. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened here. CSR went for more of the like value attacks, which does mean less charge. The Warplayer is going to have an Olaf super here, and this damage will also stick, of course, because there's no Eagle super to heal this off. There wasn't a ton of damage dealt by Warplayer on this turn. We did hit this anti-air down to 1, which is good. For some reason, this infantry hit this tank. I don't know why. definitely fall back to your other vehicles so they can cover you. And we just had the global damage do its global damage thing. Now, Eagle always has the choice of, do you want the lightning strike during the Eagle Super, or do you want to wait? And I guess in this case, it's not during the Eagle Super, or the Olaf Super, because Olaf just swaps out and the snow remains. Now, if Eagle uses the super this turn, then this is a really poor placement for this copter, because even in the snow, then the anti-air gets built from this base, it'll just be able to snipe it. So this is one of the strengths of Olaf in tag, is that you get to swap out and then still have the snow remaining. And it also won't act like currently Warplayer is Hawke and doesn't have the day-to-day to ignore the snow, but also isn't acting, so it doesn't matter. Okay, CSR does not use the Eagle Super, just kind of as a fallback turn here. Finishes this capture, so another equal in economy, just did a little bit of cleanup on these infantry. But CSR is very, very nicely ahead in unit count, which, as I've said many times, is the hardest metric to get ahead in, or to make a comeback in, because it's very easy to just have the unit trades be 1-for-1. Well, CSR does have a lot of injured units, so that might not hold for too long. We'll see. It does look like, ooh, we're going for the lab for dominance. Okay, we're going for a little period of chill, and a slight mistake here from CSR. We don't have a single infantry in range to interrupt this capture, so now a vehicle would have to be put forward. Oh, or the city just gets lost. Down here, a similar thing. There isn't a single infantry in range to try and stop this property from being captured. So it would take a major commitment in order to save it. Okay, well, this is beneficial for Warplayer, or not for Warplayer, for CSR, because Eagle really likes it when you just have giant armies of vehicles staring at each other. Because when all of your vehicles get 2 turns in a row, if your opponent's in just within 1 turn of you, you can just wipe them out completely. It does take a lot of move planning usually. You assume double Drake fuel drain combo is banned? I don't think it would be banned here. You could do it. Wow, okay, I thought that might be a turn that CSR went for the super. Because Eagle with artillery with the super gets to do that move and shoot. You move up to here, and the next turn you can fire. You get to move up to here and just fire on this artillery. You just get like a whole bunch of attacks in here. But I guess it didn't look juicy enough for CSR. Might be trying to get Warplayer to attack first. My gosh! Just inching closer. I would not recommend inching closer to an Eagle with a super. Ooh, we have an anti-air that's all the way over here. But Eagle with the super is also just gonna inch. Okay. We inch in. Ooh. Warplayer attacks in here, kills a bunch of infantry, a copter, and a tank. And then a copter and a tank over here, and then has this army back here. Now, what's nice about this for Warplayer is that CSR is really, really split up with these armies. And this one can't really make too much of an impact up here. And then these guys all just kind of ran away from the main army, which I like. But we might still see an Eagle Super. There's not too many units up here to make that much of a dent. So we do have the Eagle Super. It indeed is unable. Well, it makes a pretty good dent actually. It kills quite a few tanks, but it's not unable to wipe out all of the units that Warplayer has up here. But down here, okay. Warplayer ran away with quite a few of these, but did not run far enough. It's really difficult to outrun an Eagle Super. 2 turns is a lot of turns. That's a devastating attack. The comm tower is being captured. The top still looks like Warplayer's in it. And of course, we swap back over to Hawke in order to get more and more charge. Okay, Warplayer, very nice counterattack at the top here. Did end up using the Hawke super This time I'm using the Hawke Super first, which means that CSR is going to have the second Hawke Super, and then Warplayer is going to have an Eagle, or not an Eagle, an Olaf Super in retaliation. So what's very nice, of course, for Hawke here is you can use the Super before going for these captures. So even though you got hit for 2, it doesn't actually slow you down. While these captures are not going to do the heal up. So yeah, the comm tower in this city still get captured. And CSR has this entire area completely dominated. Top here still holding for Warplayer. I don't know what CSR's plan is here. We just built an infantry and to hold this. Okay, well the base is still technically alive for CSR, but it looks like we are indeed going to be just swapping fronts here. Except that CSR has the stronger force. Well, maybe not actually, because we do have the artillery locking this down, but there isn't anything currently stopping these copters, so there's still some production going on for Warplayer. Well, CSR has absolutely nothing up here. Okay, so CSR starts front switching with half of the army and going for these central properties. I do agree with going for the central properties. I'm not a huge fan of this like front switching away right now because, I mean, this base and this airport are still very much alive. While this front doesn't look nearly so alive. What is it? This anti-air dove in to kill a 6 health infantry. Okay, and we have the airport under threat. A medium tank does get built, and Warplayer kind of ran away from that and attacked straight down. Yeah, CSR is going to get a nice income lead, assuming all of these captures are able to go through, but production-wise might start falling behind. This entire army is completely okay. So this copter got attacked, and that's it. Although there's still a copter for Warplayer that can get involved in this. But yeah, because the production from Warplayer is isn't locked down currently out of the game, these copters are going to still be able to keep up quite the threat. And this airport is currently being sat on, although there isn't enough support over here to make sure this capture goes through. But this does mean there's been no opportunity for CSR to build any copters, so we just have pure air dominance right now for Warplayer, as well as just 2 bases for production for CSR, which are going to have to build a mixture of units to deal with both copters and tanks. Which is definitely hard to do. We have this classic cheeky play where the copter comes into range of the anti-air, but then there's artillery guarding the copter. Try and get a nice trade-off. Probably a little aggressive, but I guess the builds from CSR kind of let you get away with it. And then we're going to go for some more of these central captures as well. Oh, interesting, the infantry actually dove forward here. Oh, the artillery stayed on the base to kill this. And then the copter came in and killed the opposing artillery that was before trying to lock down this base. It looks like this capture is still going to go through. And this anti-air's got a choice of 2 copters to attack, and there's 2 more copters in the wings. So it looks like this base for Warplayer might actually survive, much like CSR's did too. Really, I think that should have been able to be locked down by, really both players probably should have been able to take out those bases, but that's okay. Going on here. Warplayer does go. Oh no, CSR goes for a base clear here. Doesn't have an infantry ready to stand on it. Nothing can stand on the base, so something can just get produced. And the anti-air is in range of a tank, and then all of these copters are just going to swing in. So it looks like the attack on this base has been will be thwarted on Warplayer's turn, and Warplayer pretty much just gave up on fighting up here. So CSR is at this point, due to these central captures, actually ahead by 4K, which is in income, which is pretty nice. I was definitely wrong about this just being a Hawke mirror. They've got quite a bit of charge going on here. Okay, so yeah, Warplayer just comes in here, beats all these guys up, hits the anti-air, and has the copter swing in. tons of damage, which I 100% agree with. The fighting over here looks like Warplayer's gonna get cleaned up, but man, was that a good fight because of the copter swarm. Oh, and Warplayer used the Hawke super and didn't tag out. So that means that there's still that +10/+10 stats from having the power active. And also that Warplayer is not going to get any charge from this turn. Interesting, CSR has Hawke in the front, even though Eagle has a full super. Oh, okay. CSR just needed to swap over to Eagle at the end of the turn. So there'd be a super available. That's okay. But it's definitely interesting to keep your power active as Hawke, because it's just extra. Well, I guess it's an extra 20 attack, 10 defense, because Olaf doesn't have the 10% attack that Hawke does natively. But still, usually you prefer to get the continual charge. Ooh. So, okay, so CSR uses Hawke's normal power and then swaps over to Eagle at the end of the turn. And kind of forced to just get what... oh, actually, okay, this anti-air did get the helicopter over here, which is pretty nice. But for the most part, it's just forced to just kind of go for the attacks that are possible and suffer the losses. So if we're looking at the unit value here, Warplayer is ahead because it's the start of Warplayer's turn and they're basically even in unit value, where if it was, if the game was going, well, it's especially in a brawl, if you're starting even, you're really good, but usually you'd be half a turn behind in unit value as per the first turn advantage balance. Warplayer looking good. Does just clean up over here. It's this property, which is nice, and it's going to be kind of setting up to get for this harbor as well as wow, okay, so CSR was unable to stop this capture, so now we're actually even in properties, and like these properties look like they're just going to go straight back into Warplayer's hands, which is really bad news for CSR. We do have some infantry over here, so it's possible that these captures will go back to CSR as well, but it looks like their priority is just going to be this comm tower. Just judging by how these guys have been moving rather than going up here. And that's something that I imagine Warplayer is going to be able to contest pretty heavily, while there's not much available for CSR down here to contest. So this might start swinging in Warplayer's favor. We do also have the Eagle Super for CSR available. It's not going to be used this turn though, because there's no real good attacks. No map is actually asymmetrical. That sells it Go7. I expect the first installation of the Fire Emblem 3 Houses playthrough next time I'm on. What? What am I reading? You just noticed that the shoal symmetry is broken on the one base side. You're guessing that's just a replay. This is the one base side. What is the shoal symmetry being broken? Oh. Oh yeah, that's just not shoal, huh? That is very weird. Warplayer gonna go for the carrier. You could build a carrier here, I guess, to lock the airport. You could even build a missile and walk it over the shoals. Okay. Warplayer, striking. Yeah, it's just going to come down to how well can Warplayer... What are you doing? So what Warplayer should really do here is just make sure as many infantry as possible are available to interrupt this comm tower. So you like move this guy forward, and then you just move a whole bunch of stuff in range of protecting this infantry. So like Infantry goes here, so it can interrupt the comm tower. Artillery goes here, so it can shoot the medium tank if the medium tank tries to hit the infantry. And you have like the anti-airs and the copters come over, so they can smack the copters if they try and interrupt. So you can, like, they'll still get their comm tower, but you'll just get really good trades out of it. That's not what happens. Just kind of fall back. Oh, wow, okay. So CSR decided not to go for the comm tower. Went for this city first. And does control this harbor currently. I like the transport copter buy. There's a lot of properties to go for. I would go for the comm tower first, because we got pretty large standing armies. And this gives Warplayer more time to potentially set something up to interrupt. I guess it's just because Eagle has the super. So Warplayer's feeling a little bit uneasy, but you can definitely dedicate an infantry forward to interrupt captures. Okay, so now Warplayer's cleaning this stuff up. The copter's just sitting on the harbor, so maybe there is a fear from CSR that there's going to be a carrier built. And we're back to just swapping these fronts. Ooh, a bomber got built. Now, Eagle bombers are really good because they can Goomba stomp things. You just run up, like, Goombas, run up, kill a medium tank, use the super, kill an anti-air, you know, that kind of thing. Just 2 Goomba stomps. Ooh. So Warplayer goes for the Eagle super and actually gets the anti-air hit on this bomber because of it. That's pretty devastating. Very unhappy days for CSR. And now, of course, it's snowing, and Hawke's back in front. Now, down here, definitely looks like Eagle can get some action done with the super, but at the top, it looks, again, like it's fine for Warplayer. Whoa, CSR does not use... Wow, okay. Not only does CSR not use the Eagle super, CSR tags out at the end of the turn, which means there can't be an Eagle super used in the next turn. I guess CSR is anticipating taking so much damage that they just go for a Hawke super and then tag over to use an Eagle super at the following turn. But this is a huge opportunity for Warplayer. It's like, you no longer have to worry about getting hit with that lightning strike, so kind of go all out. And that's exactly what we're going to start seeing here. Harbor is getting captured, but otherwise everything's getting attacked. We have the tank standing in the way of, I guess, the tank first strike on these artillery, but they're coming to lock down this base. This is a very unhappy airport. And then down here, we're just going to go for some easy attacks, it looks like. Nothing too fancy. It wasn't quite enough to give CSR the super, but at the end of the turn, we might have a CSR super at the end. Turn kind of thing happen. And that is what went down. So these units just continued fighting as is, and then as we can tell by the 2 damage dealt here, CSR used the Hawke super and then swapped over to Eagle. But that's going to end up with Warplayer pretty easily managing to get a Hawke super as well. So all of CSR's units are going to be left injured, and there's going to be a kind of an overwhelming force bearing down on this top left side if Warplayer decides to do so. And that, okay, so yeah, here comes the overbearing number of units. Just kind of killing off as much as possible. The CSR can get, only has 14k in the bank because of all the repairs. So I guess could build a tank or build a copter or do some joins to get like a medium tank. But it does look like this base is actually going to die for CSR now. While Warplayers is still living. We do have an Eagle super down here, although there's actually only 2 healthy vehicles. Now, Eagle super gives all of his vehicles an extra turn, but that doesn't impact any of these infantry. So this is looking really bad for CSR, and then the game ends in a draw. So usually when the game ends in a draw, it's not actually a draw. What happens is someone timed out, and I imagine that CSR timed out there. GG. Yeah, you're right. Because of these shoals, CSR can lock across the water with an artillery, but an artillery can't lock the space. I'm out Warplayer 1. Yeah. GG. Well played. I think swapping off of Eagle was such a gutsy move by CSR, but that was a very intense 36 game standard tag game. Tag match. These cities were indeed very hotly contested, but they ended up kind of one settled, just staying in the hands. I mean, this one did eventually swap. But, you know, some good lessons there. If you're behind on your fronts and you're being offered the opportunity to just trade them, you would 100% trade them rather than go up and just fight that army. Because, like, CSR was going to get, like, 2 properties in the comm tower, and Warplayer was going to get, like, 3 properties in the comm tower, and he was happy with that. GG. We got RedPandaMagic verse 13, Anonymity 13. Quite the map. Okay, so this is high funds. Oh no, I know this map. I've seen this map before. Is this a tournament map? It might be. So it's high funds. We have these starting missiles overlooking these airports that you can go for pretty quickly. And you have a few options for how you want to kill this missile. You can either just build an artillery and kill it, or you can send infantry over to strike it from the mountain, or a mech over and strike it from the mountain. Those are basically your 3 main options. And then once the missile dies, you also get a lander free. So you're heavily incentivized to take out this missile. And this gives a pretty good advantage to 13 here, because a missile has 12k value. So when you lose your missile, you get 12k of charge. And when you kill your opponent's missile, you get 6k of charge. And 12 plus 6 is 18. So when just the missile's dying and nothing else, Adder gets his normal power active. And that is very handy. No fighting required. I guess if you wanted to, you could use your normal power in the capture phase to, if there's any of these cities that are 4 away from each other. I don't think there are that many. There's like this one. Harbor to here. Harbor over here, I guess. I don't think that's what would happen, but it does mean that you don't have to fight for, if you're Adder. You can just have the missiles die and be threatening your normal power from there on out. It was a tier 4 match. You played this a year ago. Nice. We'll see how this goes. I would definitely favor Adder over Lash. Lash has got, a pretty decent day today, and will definitely kill this missile faster. But with high funds having as much charge as it does, Adder can basically have his power going non-stop. So it looks like RedPandaMagic is going to... I need to keep this order static, so we know who's player 1 and player 2. Looks like we're going to go for the mech clear on this missile. It's probably going to be mech captures airport and then goes hit the missile. And over here, 13 is going to use the artillery approach. I mean, the mech approach, I think, is probably best. But you're never too upset about having an artillery. Oh my gosh, good night, Noisy. Yeah, but Adder usually is going to be advantaged advantageous in high funds because there's so much charge from these expensive units that you can basically have an adder normal power going every single turn just because of how expensive all the units can be. While Lash still has to fill up 7 bars, which is definitely easy-ish to do in high funds, but it's not as easy as 2 bars repeatedly. And even if adder uses the power 10 times, which will be the max. Well, it's not the max number of times you can use the power, but it will cap the increasing cost to be effectively 6 bars. So even when adder's at the max power tax, I guess, it costs less charge for him to get his normal power than it does for Lash to get all the way to that super. And Lash's normal power is kind of garbage. I mean, it's the forbidden technique for a reason. It just gives you Sturms day to day for 1 turn. Which isn't the best. Kind of weird use of this lander here. I would have expected it to stop here so an infantry can hop on and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Drop off over here. But fine, I guess it's got other plans. Down goes the missile. The Lash mech on the mountain, getting that extra damage. Happy days, and we have the Lash copter. Now, Lash doesn't have... Oh, okay. Well, as I was saying, you do get enough charge from the 2 missiles dying to use the adder power, and you can indeed use it in your capture phase. We'll see how much 13 gets from this. Okay, so that's 1 capture and then 2 captures. I mean, it's really just 1 capture because this guy could have just gone over here. But okay, we'll count it as 2. 3. Getting this early is nice. 4. 5 with some backup. So 5 captures. That's not so bad. That's, that's essentially earning yourself 10k. Like half a turn's income at this point. It's not so bad. And the nice thing, of course, is adder takes so few points of charge in order to get the next power that it won't be too difficult to get there. We do have a battleship built by Red Panda. I do not like this battleship. It's a Lash battleship, so it's going to have plus 30% firepower attacking from this harbor. It can never move from this harbor because of all the shoals. But the main thing that this battleship does is deny this property from 13 from capturing, but that property is already being denied by multiple infantry and a copter. So I do not like this buy. Because this is, at this part of the game, it's still a really big investment. It's more than Red Panda makes in a turn. And 13 can just ignore it. And then, yeah, also, as content pointing out, there's an airport that's about to be captured here, and it's mighty close to this battleship. So a bomber can come on over. So when someone goes for an aggressive battleship, usually the plan is just fight where that battleship isn't, and you'll be up 28k in that fight. If you want a forward battleship to be really good, then you have to build it when it makes an impact, and your opponent has to like do something about it rather than just ignore it. So Red Panda's got some aggressive copters moving out here. It's pretty nice. 13 is a little bit behind in the unit count here. We do have a transport copter built to go for this property. And A little artillery attack. There's nothing over here to actually deal with this airport, so I imagine we're going to see a bomber. We see a rocket and a battlecopter instead, and then a fighter built down here. I guess this is in response to this copter being really annoying. Rocket, I don't know. I guess the rocket's job is to go here. I guess okay. It goes here to lock this property, and then there's a battleship locking it and a rocket locking it, and no one gets it. That's not the worst thing. Okay. Red Panda comes in, goes for some attacks. So just kind of be units trading off and then builds a fighter. It's definitely gutsy to go for the air fight against Adder, because having +1 movement on your air units is very, very good when your opponent just has basic air units. It means you pretty much always get the first strikes. Okay. Artillery isn't used over here, but that's okay. Copters are not in range to protect this, so with the rocket backing this up, this property is indeed forever denied. And this looks like just a normal 1 comm tower per person map, but they're both in the center, so those are very much targets to be flipped. Surprised we haven't seen a bomber built. I guess you build a bomber, they build a fighter, and 13's just not interested in that. I guess that's okay. Thanks to be moving out. There's some infantry trading off. It's definitely in 13's favor currently to trade off infantry on this front, because it's like 1 property more than they have on the other front. So it's kind of an advantageous situation for it to remain stalemated in. So if you can trade off all the infantry, then that will forever remain true. But currently what's happening is there's just not enough here to actually back up the artillery lock that's happening. Okay, so Red Panda is building more and more of these copters. Now Lash's copters aren't bad. It's not like she's got a negative day-to-day for them. It's just they don't get her day-to-day bonuses. And in comparison to the extra movement that Adder can get, they can suddenly become very bad. Why you built the fighter? Just to guard the comm towers. Why you built the fighter? Okay. Does a carrier lock the airport? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it's 2 tiles out. So a grit carrier with the normal power active could lock the airport. You got a range of 8. The fighting continues over here. We actually managed to hold. The fighter could go for... currently this fighter is blocking off any approach to hit this artillery from the left side. And while this fighter from Red Panda could go for a first strike, then the anti-air would finish it off. It would end up being in 13's favor. And this is one of the nice things about fighters, is they're very hard to kill. So they can do this kind of thing where they just kind of chill in the center. I don't know if this was just a mistake or what. But, I mean, this fighter, if it wants to, can just go over here and kill this copter, and there's nothing that Red Panda can do about it. But I do like Red Panda's attack over here, because this is kind of an exposed property that you would like to kind of forever deny. Okay, so yeah, the fighter does come over here and just pop the copter, and then we have Adder normal power get used. Doesn't let the anti-air reach the fighter. We have to be a swooper. We'll get back over here. And a bunch of copter first strikes. Another one. How goes that tank? Yeah, this is a whole bunch of first strikes. Looking good. And then some captures. Make a little wall. here. Bring some more copters. Make sure that the copters are within anti-air range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not. So I would prefer that copter moved like a tiny bit over. I mean, it's not unrealistic that you'll get the adder super or the adder normal power on the following turn to cover it, but still. Yeah, we have the Lash super, and this is where you can see how much stronger Adder's copters are than Lash's copters. Like that +1 movement, and suddenly there's a whole bunch of copter first strikes available. Ah, the sad battleship. It just can't shoot anything. We have the join cap. The prime tactics is available here. So the extra defense stars will be very nice. It doesn't affect air units, of course, because they don't benefit from defense stars. But down goes this artillery. Down goes this tank. I would have swapped the copter and tank smack, but it's not a huge deal. These captures are pretty difficult to interrupt. They have plus 70% defense. 3 from the terrain stars, 3 from the super, doubling the terrain stars, and then plus another 1 because having a power active. Plus 7 percent defense. New tanks start coming out. They're going to be good. Captures do go through for 13. And now we've actually entered into the battleship's range in order to finish off these copters. And this fighter, I assume, is just going to zoom in here and start killing copters as they're produced. Yep. Pop. Oh, it lived! And down goes this anti-air. And now the battleship's gonna start getting a little antsy because the copters will be thinking very mean thoughts at it for the future. Capture does get interrupted, and then interestingly, 13 ends up building a battleship. Okay. Well, the battleship's too late to interrupt this capture. But it could be the 13s, because this is also where the lab is, and the battleship does help with that. So 13 might be a little too worried about the lab going down. At least the battleship is built while there's a bunch of units in range, so it will probably get some. Red Panda cleaning up attacks here. We're gonna have a fighter first strike offered. Okay, we're just gonna go double fighter to scare off 13s. Okay. That's a pretty good attack. There's a lot of stuff in range of the battleship, so it's gonna have plenty of options. And I do like the fighter covering the fighter against the fighter. It's very cute. There's no anti-air left for 13, so we're not gonna have any fancy plays. Like a fighter attacks and then gets covered by an anti-air extra far away due to the Adder super. And then yeah, at this point, Adder can either use the normal power for like 6 turns in a row with all the charge you can get, or we can go straight to the Adder super if you really need another movement. We're just going to use power. Neo Tank's going to go tank. Just go for a whole bunch of attacks here. Interrupt, or deny that capture. Go for a nice shot over here. Anti-air finishes off that tank. It's out of range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of this Neo Tank. Even if there's a super used, there's no help for Lash. Okay, so this fighter decides to go for this copter attack. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I guess we're gonna build a fighter as well. try and cover this fighter. This is a vulnerable to just getting double fighter smacked. So we'll see how that plays out. You have an anti-air on its way. Comes the prime tactics. I'm not seeing too many good prime tactics fights here. But when you've got the power, use it. Copter goes for some attacks. Taking off these injured units. There was very few prime tactics engagements there. So we get another side slip. 13 really shouldn't use the side slip yet. You'd want to go for all of the... You want to go for a whole bunch of attacks that don't need the extra movement so that you can get the charge in order to just like going infinite with the Adder normal power. But really wanted to do the fighter attack first, I guess. But like this doesn't need the power. The copter attacks on this copter won't need the power. Assuming that's what you go for. The battleship doesn't need the power. I don't think this tank needs the power. There's a bunch of stuff you can do without using the Adder power, and that will give you more charge, so you can continually get the Adder power for the engagements that you care about in your turns. Copter decided not to move. It really liked its forest. That's fair. This Neo tank's very gutsy. It's in range of another Neo tank. It doesn't have the rocket's actually not guarding that Neo tank. So that's just a Neo tank first strike. Smack. Pretty good for Lash. 10% defense boost saves this T-Copter. A 1 health T-Copter just transports at the same rate as the full health one. I'm trying to figure out... Okay, so it looks like in the center here, Red Panda has this captured. 13 doesn't have this one captured. But the Red Panda has this captured. Or is this... Is this just a central city? Is this a... Yeah. Oh, no. It's down here. Okay, 13 has this one captured. Red Panda doesn't have this one captured. But Red Panda has this captured. 13 doesn't have this one. Okay. That's why they're even. Yeah, this was just a free Neo tank swing. It wasn't free for the copter, but it was free for the Neo tank. Rockets. We have another rocket built, but they're moving out for a more central position. Red has your property in battleship range. Yeah. So there's a few ways to deal with that. Of course, you can kill the battleship, or you can just attack. Like previously, when you attack in with everything, you have like vehicles attacking vehicles. Then you put an infantry on the city, and you're like, okay, well now your battleship can either interrupt the city, or it can shoot vehicles. You just kind of overwhelm it. You can also you can join caps to take it, or you can just kill the battleship, which would be the easiest way. Well, actually, join caps are usually the easiest way. Well, maybe you can't do that because it's a Lash battleship. I don't think it gets enough firepower to one-shot unless you use prime tactics. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the rockets, but I mean this one's going to get some targets. Okay, battleship fires. We get the side slip. Smack. There's the fighter. There's the copter. Go for an attack over there. Or Neo tank gets beat up. We have a nice join cap. Forward city. There's more rockets forward. You just gotta make sure that they can't get broken through too. This rocket's in range of a Neo tank, but the Neo tank has to hit from the road, and there's artillery and Neo tank to avenge. And you would probably trade your rocket for a Neo tank pretty much any day. These are looking actually pretty nice value-wise here for 13. Rocket gets taken out, but there's an anti-air here. For all of this. This rocket gets hit by a tank. It's pretty painful. But it's... down goes the rocket. But it does have some pretty decent protection. Or not protection, but like counterattacks available around it. So that the rocket's not going to die for free. There's a lot of tanks coming down here. The 13 does get this city, and this city, now up by a decent amount of cash or income. And then, yeah, the rocket went down, but then like the entire attack force for Red Panda got annihilated for doing it. So, not necessarily beneficial. And then 13 goes fighter and missile. I think this is an effort to protect the battleship from the incoming copters. I don't think the missile is going to be that necessary, but I'm prepared to be wowed. You have the bomber, the battleship slayer from Red Panda. I've been expecting a bomber from 13 for a while now, so we'll see what 13's plan is to deal with this bomber. Oh, plans to just build a bomber their own. The lockdowns have begun. We have a really nice unit count lead here. 6 of that is infantry. Pretty good for high funds. If your opponent, like over here, for instance, there's some like 1 healthy infantry over here, but for the most part, there's nothing healthy. So you can kind of just leave these units alone and just go fight somewhere else, because you don't really care if vehicles stand on your stuff. Inching forward over here a tiny bit. Bomber threatening the battleship. Red Panda just resigns. They were really far behind in pretty much every metric, but they were still kind of in the game. However, I mean, it does kind of look like it's just like a slow push until somewhere cracks. So GG. Rockets are very hard to use effectively. You did end up getting them pretty nicely. Or get some pretty nice value. GG. Yeah, the indirects do make it hard to switch fronts because they're so much slower than anything else. It was a good game. Okay, we've got Lusciel versus SonjaTheSuperior. In a Von Bolt mirror. And what looks like it's high funds. High funds in a really narrow map. That's kind of just a 2-front map. Maybe just a 1-front map, depending on where they're fighting. The old man mirror, yeah. Oh, it's technically 2-base airport versus lone base. I guess lone base hard. Well, I guess it's 2-base. Oh, I know this map. Yeah. Okay, it's 2-base. Airport harbor versus 1 base harbor. And the joke is that this harbor is walled in by a shoal and this one isn't, so you can build a carrier and come over here and lock their airport in theory. And then you also use a lander from this port. So to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bring tanks. You can bring medium tanks into the lander, and the lander goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and drops them straight off into the center. And then the joke in the game is to play Olaf, and then suddenly their lander cannot make it from the harbor to this area, and you just cut off this base from building vehicles, or for multiple turns, as you can just like chain the snows, and we didn't really sad. See how it goes here. The harbors are usually captured pretty quick. Lusciel is going for this one, and then this one's right after the port. Fine. Air units. You see the anti-air is the first unit, and the reason why SonjaTheSuperior is going for the anti-air first is because on this front you've got bases that have to walk over a river, and then a fast airport. So the copters can guard your infantry, but the land vehicles can't do it swiftly. They have to walk all the way over here, right? Through the forests, around the mountains, and then across this river. Otherwise, you just have this base to protect the vehicles. But that does mean that the infantry kind of walk over here unprotected, except for copters. That's what Olaf always does in these lander maps. Yeah. Yeah, here comes Copter. And then Lusciel went for tank first. This one tank is going to try and protect all these infantry. This is incoming anti-air. And anti-air guard against this Copter. Artillery on the way. It's going to have a long walk. It's probably going to walk over here. And then a lander's going to do it. Just like over here. Lander built for SonjaTheSuperior. Then we have the tank. Nothing from the airport this turn. Lusciel's copters are playing a little bit coy. Don't want to get too close to the fight, I guess. That's fine. But yeah, there's the lander. Lander drops off over here. You could go for a double lander. Probably, in fact, right play. Just have lander drop off here, lander drop off here. Just keep swapping back and forth. It might be too early for the double lander at this point. Lusciel does opt to go for a Neo tank instead. While SonjaTheSuperior is going for this capture, covering all this with an artillery, which is looking really nice. And this capture is interrupted by Lusciel's army with the copter and artillery as well. Kind of bearing down on this poor, poor innocent one base. Capture chain right here, man. There's one right here. Okay, Lusciel marching forward. Ooh, oh my gosh. Desperate times. So Lusciel uses the lander to as a blocker here. Which is definitely a desperate times kind of situation, because we don't even have a lander built here. This artillery is just stranded, and this is a very expensive lander block. It delays any vehicle from coming out of these two bases for like 2 or 3 turns in order to try and get this city. I think the Superior could just hit this with a copter and then back it up with like infantry on the river. We'll see. The copter will get smacked by an opposing copter, but If it forces the lander to stick around here for another turn, it's probably worth it. Looks like SonjaTheSuperior is thinking about it. Doesn't do it. Just having the copter chill. Okay, so at least Lusciel does get the city, even though it's very expensive to use the lander as a blocker. And there it goes. Now it's heading back to pick stuff up. We did have the battleship bot over here. Can't really move anywhere because the copter's standing in the way. Okay, tile. Doesn't even move that tile. It's just... okay. It's just going to chill there. We do have a fighter built. Rocket, infantry, and then just a base skip. Wow. Okay. In comes the bomber. And the front over here is looking pretty decent for Lusciel's pressure. SonjaTheSuperior is taking a very strong central position and letting this stuff go, it looks like. We'll see, though. Lander has finally made it back here, so we have this artillery will now get picked up and the medium tank will join in. SonjaTheSuperior is actually just kind of even-ish in income. Got this one's another even. If this one falls, then SonjaTheSuperior will be behind. Although, I'm trying to figure out why would SonjaTheSuperior be behind. Oh, because this one's owned by Lusciel. That's why. SonjaTheSuperior is attacking up the center here, beating up some infantry. Doesn't have anything capturing here. Really interrupt this. Oh, okay. Just gonna let this go. I mean, that's definitely a little gutsy. And I mean, there's a pretty nice concave here for Lusciel, so we'll be able to attack from multiple fronts. There is, a little bit of a crust of infantry going on here for SonjaTheSuperior. So at the top and the right here will be a little bit difficult to break through. Lusciel decides not to even try. Just makes a little wall over here and a little wall over here. So if SonjaTheSuperior continues to dawdle in the middle, or I should say, if SonjaTheSuperior dawdles in the middle, then Lusciel can do like a flank attack, or SonjaTheSuperior can attack one of these two armies, and then the other one's kind of left asking what happened. And usually you would attack the one over here because it's got the slower reinforcements. Ooh, okay, but it looks like SonjaTheSuperior is kind of dawdling in the middle. Which could definitely be very dangerous. But if you're really good with your positioning, it will be fine, because your opponent won't find a good attack. It looks like Lusciel is unable to find a good attack. Just for some slight peppering. I don't know what's up with this battleship. It's just chilling here, terrified in its harbor. Okay. SonjaTheSuperior still just kind of sitting in the middle. Okay, we're starting to inch over to the left. I'm so... Okay, so we have a little drill go on here to hit this copter. Ooh. Interesting. So Lusciel purposely does not hit this tank. I assume that's because this makes it so this Neo tank can't one-shot. Or something. Or worried about the tank sacrifice, maybe. It just falls back over here. If the fighter get a hit. These they're starting to fall kind of slowly. Not too many healthy imagery left. SonjaTheSuperior's army. It's just gonna fall back. I do like that it's falling back. I feel like it was a little bit lucky of it to not get absolutely pounced there. Lusciel's so scared. Runs way back. It's like, I'll send one guy forward to injure this infantry. Don't mind me. Battleship's still just hiding in its harbor. So this is, of course, a Von Bolt mirror. So you gotta be really concerned about grouping your units too close together, or you could get absolutely bopped by a Von Bolt super. And you might be like, they don't have that much charge. They're like a third of the way there. But this is high funds, right? So you need like 52-ish thousand to get this super. But you do have 332,000 in, you know, unit value per per side. So it's like, it's not that hard to make that up. We don't have any huge attacks come in here, so SonjaTheSuperior is going to get a property lead, and another one, and just a stare down. Very good job by SonjaTheSuperior to get this property lead. It's going to be up by actually a lot of money here. Look at that. Ahead by 8K. 4 properties. These two in the center, and then these two, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's very good for SonjaTheSuperior. At this point, you'd probably just kind of chill. Oh, Lusciel's attacking in here. Big swing. You can see how quickly this charge starts to build up. SonjaTheSuperior almost at the super already, but what Lusciel really wants, is to get the super themselves. It doesn't get the sack here. Gets the sack over here. It's that tank, and then bam, we've got the super. And yeah, that's a pretty nice Von Bolt super. It hit all of these units on the front line, and then what do you know? We build a mega tank, we build an artillery, we got a rocket back here to fire to. So you just make your own magnet in response. Oh my god, I feel like that has to be more units than needed for that magnet. Maybe not, I don't know. You can also like double up on battleships or something. So SonjaTheSuperior just uses the Ex Machina. It does hit the magnet over here. It will deny some unit buys. But it's a lot better to be hit in the back with the Ex Machina than right on the front lines. We do have quite a few attacks that go through here for SonjaTheSuperior, though. This capture gets interrupted as well, so we'll see if that's enough, or if Lusciel can kind of clean up everything. Rockets are having a lot of fun. Anti-air, it lives at 1. Down goes that rocket. Bomber gets hit. Neo tank. It kind of looks like SonjaTheSuperior has enough stuff to stay in this fight. There's still some fairly healthy bomber Neo tank. Although, man, there's quite a few medium tanks. Lusciel, and you can see how much charge. This is all charge gained on the offense there. So we're gonna have another Lusciel super at the end here of this turn. Medium tanks get attacked. Yeah, now this is all SonjaTheSuperior just trying to get as much charge as possible, and of course overcharging. Seal. Battleship gets hit. Then, ooh, Lander Mega Medium Tank. I mean, that could be a nice little magnet, but I think over here is still gonna get hit. Yeah. Ex Machina slams down. And then this is kind of the dream. It's you hit, well, not quite. There's not enough stuff here to be, but you hit like half of the front line, and then you kill the rest of it. And on the next turn, you can finish off the units that got stunned. There wasn't quite enough stuff here for Lusciel to do that. We have another magnet built. This one is a much better magnet, as in it doesn't lock down quite as much stuff. These medium tanks are completely trapped, which is a very cute play. And it looks like SonjaTheSuperior is not going to use the super. Okay, no, it does use it just at the very end. The medium tanks do break through here a bit, hit this artillery, which is nice. We have a missile. Oh, we have a missile. We have a pipe runner built, and then Lusciel just goes for the resignation. I guess the trap-in of these medium tanks was too backbreaking. And SonjaTheSuperior had that 8k income lead, which is pretty nice. So I really liked... I wasn't a huge fan of SonjaTheSuperior chilling in the middle a little too long there, but there wasn't any like fallout from that. But Lusciel had a nice attack in with the Bomb Bolt super follow-up, but then I think the magnet was a bit too much. it was almost a full Bomb Bolt super to get that magnet. And Battleship, I don't think it did anything the entire game other than walk forward and get hit by a battlecopter. GG. GG, well played. Vox. X. Operation Black Flag. Oh my. There was literally no other way to avoid the first Bomb Bolt super hitting your bomber on the front. That's rough, man. You gotta maybe go for a different attack then. Fox. Well, hi. You could build pipe runners here. Well, these two bases could build them, but they would just kind of chill back here on this pipe. It'd be really sad. This base can build them, but they can like go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I mean is in the center. It's pretty good-ish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, they don't really cover much. They cover this harbor, this city. I don't know. Spoopy music. We'll see. Keatonfox playing Olaf against a Max, a lander map. So this base is probably going to be using the lander to drop off up here. Kind of an awkward base otherwise. In the back 40. Is this high funds? No, this is just regular funds. Without recon. Double recon. I do like that for Max. He's got some pretty scary recons. They hit you and they hit you down below 5, so you can't just kind of capture in front of them and try and bluff your opponent. moving out. Looking good. There is an airport back here. So you can also have some transport copters, I'm just saying. Unleashed. There's some limited drop-off points over here. So I would feel pretty comfortable rushing a recon into this region. Yeah, exactly. Just like that. Now this sees where the infantry can now see this from the mountain, which is great. But now this recon can be really annoying and just stand here, and then suddenly no vehicles can get dropped off over here. They all have to get dropped off down here, just like as they move out from this base. You can try to like hem them in. Although it's a little harder for Max because he doesn't have artillery. Okay. This is a safe capture on this harbor. The recon can't do anything about that. And a nice interrupt. The keatonfox over here. Run away, recon! Tanks are moving out. I would expect to see some copters built by Max. They'll be able to have some flexibility and moving out like this to the center, rather than always moving along these edges. Okay, the recon comes in, takes out this infantry. Does see that there's at least one tank overlooking, so yeah, we're gonna have some other tanks covering. I don't like that this one's so far back. Is that just as far as it could go? Maybe. It doesn't cover this recon. Oh my gosh, both of these recons are chilling on some unfavorable terrain, but they do both have their own tank guarding them. This one has two. So while they do go down, they will be avenged. Man, this map is creating some serious congestion. These units. We do have a copter built for keatonfox, which is good. Pretty nice choice of recon spot up here. The tank doesn't actually cover this, so we might see the recon go for a cheeky interrupt, and it does, and it'll get away with it too. So here, I think the play for Max is to go into this forest and then bring a tank to here, and then be like, recon, you can't escape, I'm getting you. You know what would be nifty if Go7 got a mod for his replay viewer that made Yellow Comet yellow penguins for a Penguin Civil War? I'll do it, JJ, if you give me such a mod. Okay, nice. It's over here. It's always nice when you can strike from some favorable terrain like a missile platform, because that means you won't die in one hit from a Max tank. But I think Max is pretty happy with how this went down. 2 recons for like a tank and a half. Pretty good deal. Max decides to just stay capturing here, which is kind of a bluff, kind of not. Like, you can stop my capture, but then I'll take your recon. Or you can try and flee with your recon. I get my capture. We'll see. Okay, decides to just stick around. A whole bunch of stuff getting deployed. Interesting that the lander's being used for over here. Well, they're sending their landers to different fronts for them, like, in terms of symmetry, but it's the same front overall. So it's going to be 2 bases versus 2 bases, essentially up here, and then 1 base versus 1 base down here. Which would usually be a kind of like stally outcome, but not quite so much in Fog, because there's a lot of freedom to just switch fronts. Your units. without your opponent necessarily seeing it happen. What made Yellow Comet the second country of choice for these replays? It's because I was doing a JJ Empire 64 spotlight, and he has a friend who is colorblind, and Yellow Comet versus Cobalt Ice were the easiest units to distinguish. And I have stuck with them ever since. That's right, yep. Okay. It's a little bit antsy for Max. Rushing forward without great vision. Does see that there's a line of infantry here. It kind of has this covered. It's not really that bad if the stuff gets smacked. The only thing I'm kind of curious about is that there's no anti-air with this army. Anti-air's way down here, but the airport's way up here. I don't know what was going on with that. So Olaf comes in, some smacks, we're a little bit behind in econ, but that's okay. The Olaf super is way better than the Max super in Fog of War, because it doesn't need vision to find targets or any of this like positional play. So we have the Max super right now, but these guys can't actually reach stuff. Just have 3, maybe 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we have 3 vehicle attacks with this Max super. So 3. Okay, we got some down here, but they're just hitting infantry. So, get the most. Oh, 4. Okay, that one came and hit infantry too. You can see how much less Max gets out of a super in Fog of War in comparison to what you normally get in like Standard, where you can line up all of your units beforehand. However, when Olaf hits the super, it hits everything on Max's side. It gets to be really annoying. Disrupt this capture as well. That 2 health imagery is very optimistic with that exchange. We gotta stop. That's so you wouldn't go for this one-on-one attack because you know an infantry chipped this down from a 2, so it's most likely going to be a pretty healthy 1. Instead, you just go heal up your tank. I mean, it's not the end of the world to fail it, but it is definitely painful. Max has to start falling back over here, and you can see just how much more impactful Olaf super was than Max's. Max is now at half the unit value, and is currently ahead quite a bit in economy, but it's going to be really difficult to maintain that, because now so much of the army got decimated in those fights. So keatonfox just grabs the city and it kind of falls back, which I like. Don't really want to overextend. Max does get the city, so still up 2k. And then does kind of inch a little too far. Ooh, we have a fighter built. Artillery just takes this guy out. Now, one thing I don't like for keatonfox is that the bottom is like a little... I know it's like strong side, weak side, but this is a little too weak at this point. I would want to send something down here. I guess these cities are still covered. And then the other thing is I'd really like some infantry hitting towards like these top cities. using like a transport copter or something, keatonfox just decides to attack in. This is where Max is going to be happiest because a whole bunch of targets just presented themselves. Although there's no recon for Max currently. The vision is going to be like just this. Yeah. See some targets. Oh no, this guy moved out of the way. You won't be able to like know. See how much stuff is just hiding in the fog right out of vision. Oh, the Neo tank takes the plunge to kill the tank into double artillery. Yeah. This happens a lot to heavy vehicles in fog. That's why they always need the support. That will happen. It's gone. The infantry did get the kill on it too, which is impressive. Oh no. Okay, I think this is still a little too far forward for Keaton to go for this city. Like, that's this city. I do like there's an infantry going up here. I would just have more pressure going for these top cities that are way more out of the way. Okay, here comes the Max Blast. See, I mean, there's more vehicles that look like they're in range. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. I mean, 6 hits is pretty good. And then Olaf says, but I hit everything? Anti-air knocks us down to 1. It does survive. It's a big deal. And it's a big deal because only anti-airs and other fighters and carriers and cruisers. Actually, cruisers? I don't know. Yeah, I think cruisers can hit fighters. Most notably, battlecopters and everything else on the land, but the anti-air missile can't. So even at 1 health, it works as a very effective blocker. Have a good one, JJ. Yeah, this is looking pretty nice for Olaf. Again, at the end of the turn, after Olaf super, Max is super hurting. Just trying to get as much done as possible. We do still have some infantry over here. These captures, everything that was on this front got injured due to just global damage being global damage, and now keatonfox is going to be able to take the income lead. We do have an infantry available to go for these more outskirt properties. And I guess we'll dive in a bit. Sure. Tank, have the artillery heal up. I like that. We go for this capture. Like, how do you even stop this without just losing everything that you send to prevent it? And yeah, Max just resigns. That's why people like Olaf over Max in fog. You know, you use your Max super, you get 5 vehicle hits, and then all of your units get hit for 2. GG. It's a tough matchup. You can do it with Max versus Olaf for sure. You just have to make sure your super is getting a lot of vehicle hits. And if you want to do that, you need to have a very healthy vision game, which it looks like Max was getting into towards the end here. But you have to know where your opponent's army is to set that stuff up. Yeah, global damage is very difficult to defeat. keatonfox. G. Very nice setup with the double artillery on the city, and the Neo tank just walked right in. Any Olaf matchup just really unfair. That's going to be the last game of the stream. I hope people enjoyed, and I will be back tomorrow with another stream. So thanks for watching. Here's your apple for the day. Have a good one.
It's Go7, king of the penguins. Of all the penguins, he is king. It's Go7, king of the penguins. Being king of the penguins, that's